Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be making this display board. The reason that I'm making this one is I'm planning on going to a few tournaments coming up, and so I want my dwarfs to go looking their very best. Hopefully, we can get some best painted nominations at the very least. Anyway, we're going to go through the full process. Can't get my words out on how we made this. Hopefully, you'll stick around. You can enjoy it. If you do, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you very much.
I'm probably got to voice over this, but I've got this. It's a picture frame. I think it's from like Primark. It was like £2.50 or something. I'm going to be using this display board. I've also made up these plaster rocks. I'll do a quick snap quick now of how I make these. Really easy.
Okay, so we're just going to get a bit of tinfoil here and we're just going to crumple it up. And the reason we're doing this is because all those little creases and folds and things are going to form our rocks. And then we're just putting it in the container we've got just to hold it still while we mix up some plaster Paris and pour it in there. And then you end up with some lovely little rocks that look like this that you can break down into smaller bits.
Alright, I've just put some polystyrene, ball polystyrene. I've cut it to about the right size of the frame. I'll chamfer the edges so that it's level, and then I'm going to use I've got a thicker piece here, and I'm just going to build some hills. I'll cut it into it here, build a little bit. So let me do that, and then I'll come back once I've cut that out, and I'll show you how I'm going to glue them together. Alright, I've got the thicker bit here. It needs to be at least this wide for the back hill, so the war machines to sit on it. I've got this rock here to keep this down from blowing away. So I'm just going to draw. The pen's not working. I'll have a line there. Roughly like that. I'll cut that out. Probably cut 2 layers out because it's going to be the back hill. And then I'll do the same for the next hill down. And then I'll lay them up onto the thing. Alright, I've got those cut. Everything on here is the place where it's going to be. These are all going to be gyrocopters. And then this is a space for characters. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut probably a little bit further back into these hills, just to give myself a little bit more space to stick the rocks on. Around the back, there's a bit of a gap. Can't really see here. I'm going to fill out with some polystyrene. I'm just going to use PVA glue to glue it together, so we'll do that next. Okay, I've marked where the next layers go with Sharpie, so I've got a better idea of it. And then I'm just going to put some, that's way too much PVA glue, but I'm going to put some PVA glue over it, and then I'm going to get a reasonably sized paintbrush. I'm just going to spread it out. Alright, let me do this quickly and I'll come back. Alright, I've got the sides cut down. I'm going to try and attach some of these rocks now. I think the best thing to use for this would have been like no-man nails. I don't have any of that, so I'm going to use hot glue and hope that works. Now, they're too big, they're too high, but I'm hoping that I can just snap them. There we go. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. But what I'm going to do also is I'm going to make sure that I've got the model at the top there that I want, and then so I think I can cut back in a little bit into the hill face here. And then we can just put this in here. And then I'm going to smooth all these in with like sculptor mold or something along those lines. this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to do that all the way along. Let me do that, see what it looks like. Okay, it worked. I think the key was just more hot glue. I just put loads of hot glue on and basically everything stuck, so that was that. Alright, what I'm going to do next anyway is I'm going to use some sculpt mold modeling compound. I've made my own. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's hope it does. Got one of my wife's old Pokemon tins. Old Moltres there. Hope she doesn't mind. Hope she doesn't need or anything. Sorry if you do. Anyway, what I've done to make the sculptor mold, I always feel like I'm saying it really weird. Anyway, I'm just, oh my god, this video's off. This is not a normal video. I don't know what I'm doing. I've taken an egg carton and I've just used an old coffee grinder and I've just blended it up, and it goes really fibrous. You don't need to mix it with water or anything like you would with tissue paper, toilet paper, or cardboard or anything like that. You can just blend it straight up because it's already been, I assume it's already been like that process has happened to it when it's been recycled and made into this, and so it's already quite fibrous. So just blending it does that. And then I've mixed it in some plaster Paris. The bag has holes in, so that's a disaster. When I shook it to mix it all together, a lot of it came out. But I'm just going to mix. I don't know if this is going to work. I'll just make it a little bit. Just see if it works. And we're going to mix some water. I don't know how much water I need. I've got a spoon. Let's see if I can. No, I need way more water than that. I have more water over there. I just had that little bottle prepared just for making the video. Alright, let me mix this the consistency that I want it, and then I'll come back and I'll start smushing it on. This looks pretty good though, actually. I'll come back when it's done. Okay, I think I've got a decent consistency. I've only made a little bit, just to start off with, just because I'm going to slop this on somehow. Is this going to be better than the store-bought stuff? Absolutely not. Is it going to be a lot cheaper? Yes. Is it more work? Probably. So I think it depends on your priorities. If you've got money to spend and you want convenience, then the store-bought one is better, right? But if you want to try some crafting, some old school Warhammer crafting, and you've got a bit of spare time, why not give this a go? Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to smush this in everywhere. I think that's how this works. Smush it in to fill the gaps, and I'm going to use my fingers to smooth it out. And I think you're supposed to be able to like sculpt it a little bit once it starts to dry, due to the plaster of Paris. So we'll see how that goes. But at the minute, I'm just trying to get it in to all the nooks and crannies, just to fill those gaps. Okay, let's just get in. Let's just get into it, shall we? I suppose this will also seal the polystyrene as well, which is probably a good thing. I think I might need more plaster of Paris in this mix. Alright, actually. Let me know what you think in the comments. If I'm doing an absolutely terrible job, because at the minute it looks like a terrible job, I'm not going to lie. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Kind of looks a bit like a rock wall. Once it's painted, it'll look okay, I think. Bearing in mind, this is the first one of these I've ever done. This is all brand new to me. I'm just kind of making this up as I go. I'm just experimenting. There's quite a few more steps to go anyway, so let me do the rest of the wall. I'm going to have to make some more of this up. And then I'll come back once it's done. Okay, sorry about the poor lighting. But it's all done. I've got all the rocks done. I've got all the sculptor mold, homemade sculptor mold on it. And I think it looks okay, actually. I think it will look nice once it's painted, or it'll look okay once it's painted anyway. Next thing to do, I've glued it into the frame. The next thing I need to do is I've got a gap at the back here that needs fixing. So I'm going to put this so it's flush with the frame, and then the sides are going to be inside the frame. I don't know if it's going to look stupid or not, but that's what I'm going to do. And I don't really know what I'm going to use to do that. I should use like some plasticard or something, but I don't have any. So I'm going to use cardboard and see if that works. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a layer of PVA glue and... Well, no, the next thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to fill in these areas, these gaps, with just some filler, like some wood filler. I'll fill these little staple holes in as well, and then I'll sand it down. But let me get the wood filler and we'll start doing that. Okay, I have covered it all in the filler, fill all these gaps in. It's all very rough at the minute, it's dry though. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get a sanding block. I'm just going to sand it all down, smooth the tops out. And then I think it's basically done. I just need to then seal it, sand it, and we're done. So let me come back once I've sanded this down and we'll show you what we look like. Okay, it's been sanded as much as I can be bothered to sand it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal it. Like, you would normally use Mod Podge for this, but I don't have any. I've been trying to get hold of some for the past couple of days. And then I ordered some on Amazon and it just hasn't turned up yet. So I'm just going to use some PVA glue. Okay. And then I'm going to mix in some just cheap black paint, just so I can kind of see what I've done more than anything. And then we're going to get some water. Now I need a paintbrush. I don't think I've got a very good paintbrush. I'll be back in a minute. Let me see if I get a paintbrush. Okay, I'm back. This is legitimately the biggest paintbrush I could find. It's not very big, but it'll do the job. So I'm just gonna slap this all over, make sure I get in all the old nooks and crannies. What YouTuber was I watching that says that? I don't know, but they put up a... It doesn't matter. I'll try and find out. Probably give this 2 layers of those 2 coats, and then I'll let it dry. Okay, it's more or less dry. More or less. But it doesn't really matter too much that it's not quite dry. I'm going to put sand all over it. This is just play sand that I stole from a child. But don't worry, the child was unharmed and they still have plenty of sand to play with. So, I'm just going to basically dump super glue on the raised bits. Not super glue, PVA glue, and then just sprinkle sand over, and this will give it another layer of sealing. And then once that's done, I'm going to spray everything. So hopefully we've sealed it correctly and none of the foam underneath melts. Fingers crossed. I'm just going to be pretty liberal with this. Again, like I said, because I want to just give it another layer of sealing.
You don't need to see this. You know how to put sand onto a base with some glue. Real easy. Some glue down. Put some sand down. That's basically it. If you can't work that out, then... Yeah, well, this is the process. I don't know why I recorded for so long here. This is crazy. Imagine trying to teach someone how to stick sand down.
Okay, it's all spray black. And everything is masked. I masked around the frame of it to keep that a bit neater. So it's going to be that nice, like almost like satin black there. And now I've got a matte grey. I'm just going to go at this from like top down.
to kind of almost xenophil these rocks. And then I'll go in with our white as well. I'm going to put a layer of this over the sand as well. Try not to hit any of these rocks. I will dry brush this as well, but if it's quick to do with this, so we just get a dusting. Okay, let me go get the white and we'll do that. Alright, we've got the white. These are just cheap, like from pound, I think they're like £2, £2.99 for these spray cans, and this one's just going to go straight down. Okay, beautiful. All right, take two, but let's try again. So I've got the white spray paint done. I did another layer of white spray just to reinforce the white to make it a bit brighter. And I've mixed up in oil wash of Prussian blue and Payne's grey. It's mostly Payne's grey with a little bit of Prussian blue in just to make it more blue. And I'm just going to put this all over it. The reason I'm using an oil wash is because if I run out of wash, I like oil washes better for running into the recesses and things like that. And if I do run out of the wash, it's fine. I can always make more and it still won't be dry. So it can blend in easier. Whereas if I use an acrylic wash and then I ran out of it, it would be patchy and the coffee stain stuff. I've used some odorless thinner just because I don't want it to stink in here. All right. Sorry for the shadows. This is like a workshop where I'm doing this because I don't want to do this inside the house. But anyway, it's going to be quite blue, I think. But what we're going to do is just... Let me see if I can stand over this side. So it doesn't... So I'm not in the light. I'm just going to put this all over the entire... everything. Mostly on the cliffs, though. That's what I'm going to aim for first. And then once it runs out, we'll see what happens. I'll just probably mix some more up. Alright, let me get this done and I'll come back. Okay, all the blue wash is on. I've got a little bit of the solution in the lid and I've got a little sponge. I might not even use this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just get a bit of this blue off the high points so I don't have to do as much work with the highlight layer. This is going to soak it up very quickly because it's very wet at the minute, so we're just going to come in and just try and just pick it up off of some of these high points. There we go. I'm just going to do this across the bottom bit as well, and then we'll let it dry. It's going to take a couple of days to dry at least because there's so much oil paint on there, I think. But I'll come back to you once that's done. Okay, this is more or less dry. I'm just going to give it a really quick, big dry brush with some... It's like this is the cheapest white that I could get. I think this is the old eye paint paints. It was £1. It was on sale because they're rubbish paints. But I'm just going to use it to dry brush this and it'll be fine. And then once I've done that, I'm going to do the snow. Oh no, I'm going to put some tufts on and then the snow and then we're done. But that's all that stuff's available in like 2 other videos on the channel. So I'll come back once it's done and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna just keep doing quick debates on this because you don't have to go and watch another video on the channel. I mean, I would like it if you did, and then I'd like it if you like that video, like this one, subscribe and comment and all that. That'd be great. But anyway, these are I haven't got enough of these. I've ordered more, but I'm really quite sparse with them because I don't want them wobbling models and things like that. So I ordered these off of a guy on eBay. I think he must make them himself. They're really good. I'll put the link in the description, or I'll put it somewhere on the screen. Is eBay. Yeah, let me just stick these all out. Like I said, I'm going to do it quite sparsely because I don't want... Once I've got movement trays and stuff on, if there's too many of them, it'll wobble about and stuff. But we'll do that and then we'll start on the snow.
Okay, my first attempt at this was a disaster. You'll never see that video. It went. I might put a clip. But let's try again. Bicarbonate of soda, baking powder. I'm not sure what the difference is. Glue. White paint. Ink. Let's bosh them together and see what happens. Alright, I think I've got a reasonable consistency with it now. I'm just gonna start. Can you see? Yeah, I'm just gonna start slapping it on. And then we just sprinkle. Knock the excess off. Okay. You see that okay? Okay, we're done. The dwarfs look nice on it. I'll get some better photos up on the screen. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to show you how to do the snow. It's just baking powder, glue, white paint. I'll link the video where I go through it. I'll do it on the basing video and the terrain video, so you'll see that no problem. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it this far. Again, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. That's great. And see you.